Hello and welcome back to They Don't Teach This in Law School. I'm your host, Charlie Mann of Law Firm Alchemy. My guest today, I have known him longer than any other guest that I have had on this show. Or it might be tied with Kia Arian as the people that I've known the longest. He's been a good friend of mine, someone who I'm happy to say has been a mentor, a friend, a collaborator, all those good things. I'm excited to talk with him and, share what he's doing as an entrepreneur, digital marketer, all these other cool things. So I'm happy to have my really good friend, Tom Foster, on the show. Tom, it's great to see you.
Thank you, Charlie. I'm right back at you. We've known each other for a long time. I remember you were just pretty much right out of school.
A young pup.
When you started with
Yeah.
Ben, and
Yeah.
we met and you had your Converse sneakers on and your funny socks, and you had your whole college vibe going on thing.
Tom, I'm slightly depressed because I feel like nothing's changed.
Are you kidding? You're way different than that. You've just done a tremendous job in this world of helping lawyers get better, learning from Ben Glass himself. I mean, that's it's fantastic. And you went to all this Dan Kennedy, learned about it, and you came from like a kind of I wouldn't say you were shy, never shy, but kind of this kid to the very, you're a man that has all the experience. And, you've not only done that mentally, but physically too, man. You've done a great job with yourself, and it's great to see it.
Well, you're making me blush right at the top of the show.
From one entrepreneur to another, it's just great to see how you've evolved, buddy.
Thank you. I appreciate that sincerely. But now,
thank you so much for having me on your podcast here.
Absolutely. It's always good to talk with friends. So let's kick it off with the one and only question here, which is, what's the one thing they don't teach you in law school?
Well, we talked about this a little bit. And I think that the one thing that they don't teach you in law school is actually that when you go to law school, they give you the idea that simply by getting your law degree and becoming a lawyer, sorry, that's my dog's barking.
That's okay. We love dogs here.
That just by simply getting your law degree and going out in the world and putting up your sign, hi, I'm Tom Foster, Esquire, and I do personal injury, or I do estate planning, or I do whatever. If you go out on your own, the people are just going to come to you simply because of that. Or and even getting a job as a lawyer, you have to put yourself out there for what people need, not because now it's me. That develops later on. But in the very beginning, you've got to really focus on what you do and how well you do it, and better than the other guy or the other firm or whatever. And it's always about that. And then you build clout along the way with the cases that you win and the clients that you get, and then you build your referral system. Ultimately, it's always going to be about the referrals, but you have to build up that referral network.
Yeah. I think we see a plague these days, Tom, of people who want to skip past being good at what they do, really getting to know the subject, getting to know other people, and just who essentially want to be celebrities. Like, they perceive that idea of, I got the credential, people should just come to me. It's a perverse version of just build it and they will come. And I know you've seen, obviously, with all the firms that you've worked with over the years, variations on this. So you've got lawyers who are thinking about hanging a shingle, or maybe they're a few years in and they're finding these results are not what I expected them to be, right? The comments are, I left the firm, I brought some cases with me, that cash flowed me for a year and a half. Now it's, what happened? Why isn't my phone ringing? I know you've had these people land at your doorstep. And when that happens, like, what's the conversation that you're having with those people, and what guidance are you providing them?
Well, if they've just put out there that if they're competing with like other big giant firms or other, giant solo practitioners, then they've got to do more than just compete on, car accident attorney or whatever. You're right. I mean, you have to be a good lawyer. You have to do a good job. You have to get a name for yourself, and a lot of times people come to me and they're like, I'm a great lawyer. That's usually how it comes. I'm a great lawyer. I've done all this stuff. I've done, I win all these cases. I'm much better than these guys. It's always that. I'm much better than these guys coming up on page one.
Yep.
I know how Fred is and, Hector, and I know I'm a much better lawyer than them. And so, well, then prove it, right? So I would say prove it. And how do you do that today in this world? Through your website, through your reviews, through your testimonials, through your case results. And by the way, case results, content about your case results in the form of words, and a lot of words, and video is the best way to get those kinds of clients. And so if you have your favorite client, which we all do, we all have our favorite avatar client, Charlie knows where I'm going with this, then, and you want more of those, you're like, and this is what happens, to me a lot. It's like, we want more of these kinds of cases. Well, then you have to talk to those people, because those people are out there. That same kind of case or client that came to you, that was wonderful, that earned you a lot of money, and whatever, depends upon whatever you're doing, whether you're doing PI work, estate planning, DUI, criminal, you name it.
Yeah.
Whatever that avatar client is, you want to talk about them and glamorize them.
There you go.
What you did for them, because that is how you put the fuel behind the referral piece. When you glamorize the client, they talk about, oh my gosh, Tom did just such a great job for me. He was such a great lawyer, and they tell all their friends. And especially if you glamorize them and can I talk about this? Yes, please. What a great job. They got millions and millions, or they got a great estate plan, or they got, out of trouble, whatever, for DUI.
Yeah.
But that's my advice, is like, talk about your existing cases. Sure, you've got to do your basic stuff. I do car accidents. I do estate planning. I do whatever you're doing. Yeah, you got to have that basic stuff, but that's not enough.
It's the common trap that we see law firms land in, which is you talked about, I love that phrase, glamorize the client,
right?
Because there's so much glamour that is often applied to the lawyer or the firm owner. There's the beautiful headshot, there's the highest end video, all of that. And so much is about them and their appearance. And by the way, I'm not against great video. I'm not against a great headshot. Those are useful, but they're one small tool. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, above the fold, right? And
above the fold is all about them. Is all about your perfect client. You need to above the fold. We're big time into building StoryBrand websites, which is all about.
I was going to ask you about StoryBrand.
Right, all about. I'm sure you've talked about it. It's all about. Okay, your client is the hero of the story. Your prospect is the hero of the story. And so your website, what they're going to go to, whether they found you on search or they were referred to you by name or by firm or by whatever, everybody will go to your website. Everybody.
Yeah.
So that website needs to speak to them, not about how great you are, but about how you can help them. So it needs to be about, what is their pain? What is their problem? First, who is it that you're going for? What is their problem? They need you to fix their problem. That should be the order of it. And then there's you down there. But first it's about, here's your problem, wherever it is. You've been in a car accident. Here's what's going on with you. You got to pay your bills. You need to get fixed up, whatever it is. You know what your perfect client, it's the top 3 things that they're thinking about.
Yeah.
And you're right. That's what I see. The biggest mistake that law firms still make is making it about, and lawyers, making it about them. Ultimately, it is about their ability to get the best results for their client, of course that's what it's about.
Yeah.
And then you're able to talk about that in your case results. So you want to cycle that around. But it's the mistake I constantly see is that lawyers let their egos take charge.
Now you're actually, I mean, as you know, with Foster Web Marketing, an agency, website development company, etc., you're at an interesting intersection, Tom, of having to both try and mold the website to be as effective as possible based on the framework that you've seen be effective and the tools that you just talked about. But you also have the law firm owner who may have his or her own opinions on how it should be done. And I know that that's a point of friction oftentimes with web developers. So I'm curious, how do you work with clients to either blend that vision or try and get them farther in the direction of focusing on the client? Like, how do you handle that interaction?
Charlie, you said that so nicely. Yes. That's battling the ego of the lawyer, or the client. I mean, anybody can have that. Like, here's what I think it should be. And it's my job to say, well, that's not really how it should be. It should be not about you, but about your client, just like I talked about. And sure, they can have a certain vision coming in. And if it makes sense to the strategy, which we, like, it always goes back to what are your goals? What are your goals?
Right.
If you want to get from 100 to 1,000, or whatever it is, then you got to do it a certain way. And if your way that you are discussing gets you there, okay, let's do it. But if it doesn't, if my way gets you there better based on this proof, then let's try that. Maybe we can incorporate some of what you're doing. But to your point, I've been doing this 25 years. I know what makes lawyers' websites work. Yeah. But there's more to it than just what we've touched on, which is the website itself. And when people get to the website, it's all about how do you convert those people, even if they're referrals. How do you convert them from a website visitor to calling you, texting you, chatting with you, hiring you? So there's multiple steps, right?
Yeah.
We've talked about this over the years. Attract, convert, retain. Those are the steps. One, you got to attract people, right? Through marketing and other means, multi-channels, social media, your website, TV, billboards, newspapers, newsletter, whatever you're doing, you have to have multi-channels. All of them, or a majority of them, will come to your website. Then what? You have to convert them either to pick up the phone to call you, and then it's who's answering the phone, who's answering the email, who's answering the chat, and how are they doing it. So we get blamed, honestly, for the whole piece of it. Like if we're not getting leads and we're not getting cases, or they're not good. Well,
so how do you handle that then? If someone's coming to you and saying like, "Hey, my website's not working," and you're looking at it and saying statistically we're getting form fills based on a tracking number that we have, there are phone calls being driven. How do you then handle that component of it's not 100% within your control, but there are things to be done about it?
Great question, because it happens all the time where, they've got a website and it's getting traffic, but the leads are not good. And the reason for that usually is because of two things. One, they have the wrong content.
Okay.
The content is not right. It's too general, and it's not attracting the right avatar client for them. That's one thing that happens. The other thing is that they're doing pay-per-click for the wrong keywords. So this happens all the time, Charlie. So these guys, our clients, the lawyers, they get sucked into these pay-per-click things because they hear that their competitor's doing it or somebody's doing, I just need to do pay-per-click. Let me get a guy. and they get a guy, and they always go for the cheapest guy. Let me get the cheapest deal I can get.
Yeah.
Right? You know this. And so they get a guy, and the guy doesn't know what he's doing, or maybe he kind of knows what he's doing, or maybe he really knows what he's doing, which is if he really knows what he's doing, he's going to milk them for every penny they got buying keywords.
Yeah.
And he's going to buy the biggest chunk of keywords that he can get so he can get as much as their budget as possible, a percentage of the budget, which is how most pay-per-click companies work. We don't work like that, but most do.
So, and actually, let's provide some clarity. When you say percentage of the budget, it's, let's say you're a law firm spending $5,000 per month on pay-per-click. The agency may be taking 30% of that $5,000, so $1,500, as their fee for running it. And when you add another $5,000, they get paid another 30% on that.
So their incentive is to drive up that pay-per-click budget.
Right.
And how do you drive up that pay-per-click budget? Is by clicks. And most of the clicks are vanity keywords, but the issue is that your perfect client is not necessarily doing those clicks. It's other SEO people and other lawyers doing those clicks. You're paying for nonsense. Or in another sense, they'll do stuff like, this is what happened to one of my clients. He had a pay-per-click campaign that was out of control. We're talking to him tomorrow. And he, not through us, but through another company, he got snookered into this, dropping $5,000 a month on this company, generating a bunch of traffic and leads. No good. What does that do? Calling on the phone. This is an estate planning lawyer. Calling on the phone. We know we can't do that for that much. No, we can't. And come to find out that the pay-per-click company that he worked are bidding on an affordable estate planning lawyer. Affordable. And cheap and all these other, and they're not that. And so that is a terrible thing to do. But it's got a lot of clicks. It's got a lot of leads coming in,
of course,
prospects coming in, but based on that, and those are not the kinds. And so it's double trouble. It's triple trouble because one, you're paying so much for that crap. You're spending time on the phone, time away from taking care of clients. You're causing frustration with your staff and you and the prospect. And that prospect could potentially give you a crappy review because you wouldn't take their case.
So if you're a firm owner in that instance, Tom, I think that one of the hardest things for a lot of the firm owners I work with is when they're signing up with an agency is they kind of go on good faith, right? They know that there's a contract. They know that there's a strategy behind this, but they don't want to look through all of the details. They want to just trust the person. But if a law firm owner were to look for maybe one, two, or even three red flags, or even just points to examine before getting involved in something like this, what would you encourage them to do a deep dive on with any agency that they might work with?
Check their references, really just check. What websites do they work on? Talk to those lawyer. It's no different than anything else. You want to check the reviews, see how they work with clients. It's really the same thing. I mean, I could tell you, I know about certain agencies that do things in a shady way. They always have, and that stuff's out there. I would say, get with an agency that knows how to work with law firms, number one. Like a lot of people say, let me just go with my local guy, or let me go with my, he's my friend or my family member. We get that. And they know how to build a WordPress site, and WordPress is what it's all about. That is not true. That is false. And you should not work with anybody that is not experienced in working with law firms. For 100%, you're going to blow money. You think you're going to save money? You're going to spend a lot of money because you're going to be wasting time with this person or this office or whatever. You're going to be wasting time chasing stuff because they're trying to chase stuff. This is not an easy marketing business to be in, as Charlie
Agreed.
Mann. This is not easy to market.
Yeah.
It has to be done a certain way. Both your website has to be structured a certain way, and you have to do content both organically and pay-per-click a certain way, and that's exactly what else. Or else you're going to spend a lot of money. You think you're going to save money? You're going to spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, and I would also watch out for the big dogs, the big guys out there like FindLaw and Scorpion. Come to mind. There's a lot of good companies out there, like search engine guys. Those guys are good. My buddy Joe Devine, they do a great job for law firms. ConsultWebs, that's another one that's pretty good for law firms. Obviously, I'm Foster Web Marketing. This is what we've been doing for 25 years for law firms. So we know what we're doing. But I would go with somebody that is, and how do they know? So how do they know if their own website is messed up? How do they know if their own guy is not doing a good job?
Yeah.
Well, at any one of these companies, they can give you a thorough analysis of your situation. Mm-hmm. If a company like us, like we certainly can, but at ConsultWebs or whatever, if they can't give you a thorough analysis of what's going on right now, because every website has a problem. Every website has a problem. But if they're honest and say, here's how you do to get what you want, and you're gonna have to be clear about what are my goals. Like, what is it that I'm not happy with? If you're happy, if you're getting all the business you want and you're growing, great. You don't got a problem. But if you're like, why aren't the leads coming in? Why aren't they closing? Then you can get an analysis to find out if your website is broken. The other piece, though, is what if all your traffic is coming in and you're getting all these leads, but they're no good, or you're not, or they're good leads and you're not able to close them? Then you have an intake problem. And I'll just say what Ken Hardison said, which Ken Hardison, the master guy of Pilma. The number one problem in every law firm that he has seen, number one, it's not their website, it's not SEO, it's not their lawyer, it's not their staff, it's not their HR, it's not their billing, it's not their case management software. It's intake.
Yeah. It's a perpetual problem.
Clients for 20 years that constantly are tweaking their intake to make it better. The good lawyers are focusing on their intake, scripted, paying attention. Who's good? Who's bad? Okay, if the good ones, the good leads, where are they coming from? Let's tweak that so we get more of those. The bad leads, where are they coming from? Let's stop doing that so we stop getting those. It's a constant effort.
Yeah. Well, it's tough too, because intake is a high pressure position where if you're not trying to infuse new energy into it, you watch that muscle atrophy in a law firm. And sometimes people get reliant on a cycle of turnover to bring in new energy. Then they're losing so much money because you have undertrained team members on intake. Like, learning to lock in and then energize those people is so valuable. It is, to use the phrase that I first heard from our buddy Dave Fries, it is a force multiplier to have great intake in a law firm. So it's interesting because that intake concept goes towards a question I know I wanted to ask you, so I'll bring it up here, which is, how can a law firm owner enhance the work being done by their digital agency, web developer, SEO provider, a company like Foster Web Marketing? What role do they play in the success of that? And intake is certainly one of them. So what else?
Well, I would say that the best thing is keeping it fresh. That's the other thing, is keeping their presence fresh. It is their brand. So your website becomes your brand. It becomes an extension of you. It's truly AI of you, your website, of your business.
That's right.
Because people will check that out first before they contact you. So if you've got an old ass, I did a website. Checked that box. Did that back in 1997, or even I did that last year or 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
5 years ago. You need to stay on it. It needs to be fresh. It needs to be exciting. You might be like a bankruptcy lawyer, some kind of lawyer. It's not very exciting, right? Well, you better make it exciting. You got to
Mm-hmm.
figure out a way to keep it exciting. You have to be excited about it. That's the most important thing, is that you have to be excited about it. And going back to the intake piece real quick, is that you said it. Your people need to be fresh. They need to be excited.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody calls a law firm woohoo, like, yay, I'm calling a lawyer. That is up to the law firm to get them excited about talking to you. And if somebody calls up and the people that answer the phone or do an email are genuinely interested in you. If I call up a law firm, I want them to be genuinely interested in my problem, whatever it is. So that's got to stay fresh. That's the way the content needs to be. So what I would suggest with that is not only making sure that your look, the website design, look and feel is modern and updated and fresh with whatever the times are, because they're changing constantly. Looks good on mobile because most of your traffic, over 70% of your traffic, is going into your mobile website. So if it looks like ass, sorry, if it looks bad, then you're not going to get those conversions, period. The guy's website that looks better than yours will get the conversion.
Or the person who's just smart enough to have a call to click button. My goodness, that alone makes law firms money.
100%. It's the little things, by the way. It's the details that matter. And then what I was going to say too is keeping it fresh is that, and I think we only have about 9 minutes left in this particular podcast, Charlie, man. So, is adding new, fresh content and talking about how excited you are about your new client success. That's really what it is. And then sending out emails, text messages. Let me introduce you to Mr. Smith, who just won, blah, 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 blah. What a great, and glamorize your client. The newsletter should all be about your clients and the success that your clients have had. Obviously, you did it. But it's not about, look what I did. It's about what you did for them. That's how you attract more clients. So that's what I would say to stay fresh and keep people coming back, is that you got to do that. You got to continue on that marketing path. It's not a one and done. It's it's a journey. It's not even a marathon. It's a journey that never ends until you close shop.
That's right. That's right. And hey, your website is one of those assets that you're building over time that when you do close shop, if you're selling the firm, that is a tangible asset that you have available.
That is a huge asset. And lawyers come to me all the time about this. They're ready to sell. What do I do about my website? Well, have you taken care of it? Because it is that is the most important thing that you've got besides you.
Yeah. Now, this is all coming to an interesting point right now where we have the good old AI, and Tom, I got to tell you, I'm a little exhausted using the term AI because, like, we know it's not really AI; it's technically machine learning and large language models, which are not real artificial intelligence. They moved the goalpost on that; they're now calling it AGI, is what we're going for, artificial generalized intelligence, but we'll still call it AI. You have these AI products out there, these large language models. I'm curious from your perspective, someone who has developed your own software, who obviously in the website development space, the SEO space, how are you all incorporating AI, and or what is the plan for the future of AI for a shop like yours?
I'm so glad you asked me that question because I'm thrilled about it. First of all, we use AI. AI is very helpful when creating content. So I use it myself for creating content. And, it's all about the prompt. It's all about how you do it. I'm not saying I'm doing duplicate or anything like that. We don't do that. It's all custom, but AI can get you there faster. So that's one thing that you can use and you can use it in content, a variety of things, video scripts, descriptions, SEO, tons of things you can apply AI to. But what I'm
Okay, so
really excited
I have
about,
to ask real quick on that front, because I know that there are going to be a few people listening who go, "Wait, does this mean that all you're doing is putting in prompts into ChatGPT and populating my website with just strictly AI written content?" And I don't think that's what's going
no
on here, but I
way,
want to
that's
be,
not,
yeah,
it's not
I
how
want
it
to be the
goes.
proxy for the audience and offer that opportunity to clarify.
But I want to say that no, that's not how it goes. You can't do it
Yeah,
that way.
yeah,
But you obviously it needs to be edited and changed and all that stuff. But it gets you. I have an idea for something. Boom.
yeah,
Wow. It's almost collaborating with somebody else. That's what it is. And
yeah.
it's the thing with using AI is that when you ask AI, it's all about the prompt. And so when you prompt the AI, the response will be unique. It's
Mm-hmm.
not so it's not duplicating. It's a unique response to you. And so what you if you ask it the same thing over again, over and everybody's asking it the same thing, you might get duplicate stuff. But generally speaking, it's going to be different. Even if you ask it the same question, it's going to come up with something different. So it's no different than collaborating with somebody, truly.
Yeah,
And so and either way, you've got to get to a finalized product, and AI is not necessarily smart enough to get to that finalized product yet,
yeah,
which is unique for your particular client. It's going to get you a little bit of the way there. But the other thing that I'm very excited about is that we're going to that we are in the process of enabling DSS to be able to, where you just put in a prompt, please write this piece of content for me that is focused on this particular content or this particular client avatar in this area. It'll produce a draft of this and help you edit it ultimately to put it on your website, all in DSS. Same thing with your email campaigns. I need to email this avatar client, or it'll figure it out for you. You're going for this. Here's how these emails need to be written out. I mean, this is already happening, and
yeah.
this is in a variety of software packages. I'm talking to a guy today that does exactly that. It's a AI tool for Salesforce, which is
Okay.
basically you say, I'm going after this guy. I want this particular avatar. Here's my website. So you
Mm-hmm.
know, here's what I do. And that will and then the AI will automatically create your emails, the campaign, your text messages, the whole kit and caboodle
Wow.
automatically. That's not to say that you say, "Oh, thanks so much," and you press go. That's not what I'm suggesting. Like you just do it based on, but it gives you a lot of the information quicker. It
Yeah.
helps you out to do it faster.
All
And
right.
there's no avoiding it. You better use it to
Yeah.
your advantage or it's going to use you. And the
Yeah.
other bit of advice is always be polite.
Honestly, I'm laughing, but I actually am very polite to all AI. And although I would say I'm also stern when one should communicate in a stern way, like, no, that's not what I was looking
Exactly.
for. I need this. Like, I'm trying to be as accurate in terms of language processing with these devices, with these programs as possible. Um,
And
you know,
that's a great point because it lies all the time. They're called hallucinations.
yeah,
For instance, I might go to a AI and say, I need a 1,500 word document, optimized word document on whatever subject. Just simplifying it there,
yeah,
oversimplifying.
yeah,
Boom. Okay. Here's a 1,597 word document on this subject. And it spits it out. I'll take that, I'll load it into Doc, do a word count, and it's 800 words.
yep,
So it will lie to you about that. It will lie to you about the content. Everybody knows about the lawyer that got busted
yep.
because of the AI that he used and just dumped it in there without checking, and it was all made up cases and all that stuff. That's definitely not what you want to do. You do not take it for face value. It's just an assistant.
That's right. That's right.
It's an assistant, not will take over.
That's right.
My God, there's no way.
All right, Tom, before I ask you the last little triple question here, if people are interested in learning more about Foster Web Marketing, connecting with you, etc., where should we send them to?
Thank you, buddy. FosterWebMarketing.com is our website. And you can send me an email to Tom Foster at FosterWebMarketing.com if you want to talk more or need a analysis or what it's like to work with us, or if you want to talk to any of our clients to see about what it's like working with us.
Awesome. All right, Tom, final question for you. And it's, what are you reading, watching, and listening to these days?
I'm reading this book, which I was reading right before, The New Model of Selling.
Cool.
Which is really good. I'm also reading this book, How to Grow Your Small Business by Donald Miller.
Good dude.
And then I got a couple more, but yeah, I've always got books going on. And the book that I always read or listen to a little chunk every day in the morning is The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle.
Very nice. Great choice. Yep. Great choice. All right. What are you watching and what are you listening to these days?
I'm not watching anything. I don't really watch TV. Well, I'm watching some cartoons. Like I saw this cool little cartoon last night with my granddaughter. So I'm watching that.
There you go.
If I'm watching anything. I have been doing stay away from the news, Tom, kind of thing, right?
Good. Yeah.
I think you and I have talked about this before, but oh my God, it's so depressing. So
yeah,
I used to get up in the morning, and read the news first thing, and then I'd be like grouchy.
Yep.
And I got with my buddy. I was just with Rem Jackson and Peter Wishney.
Good dudes.
And yeah, exactly. And like Peter smacked me back to reality. Like, what are you doing? Start your day with your gratitude journal and your affirmations. And so I've gotten back on that for a week now. I feel so much better.
Good.
Than reading the news, man. So
good. Then what are you listening to these days?
I
mean, I know you're a music guy.
70s on in the other room, and
nice.
I just saw U2 at the Sphere in Las Vegas. That was a great show, and I just I do that Music Break Monday. So anybody wants to listen to the Music Break Monday, you can check it out on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or whatever. But we put out a song every Monday, which is a cover or an original.
Yeah.
And that's usually what I'm listening to, Charlie. Honestly, I'm like, I better get this right. So I'm listening to whatever song I'm putting out.
That's
fair.
And
a lot of what my daughter, who's that guy, Jonah? Who's Jonah?
I don't know, man.
He's that folk singer guy. Jonah. I can't remember his last name. Anyway,
that's all
great.
right.
Jonah Khan or something like that.
Gotcha. Well, Tom, my friend, I appreciate you being here on the show. It's always good to talk with you.
Thank you so much, bro. I'm sorry we went over time. I broke the rules, but I intended to do it from the very beginning. So,
I appreciate you, Tom.
Thank you, buddy.
I will see you all in the next episode of They Don't Teach This in Law School.